I paid $32,000 for my daughter's dream wedding, but she still uninvited me, called me an embarrassment, and said I wasn't good enough to be seen there. So, I made sure her perfect day never happened. My name is Victoria, 27F, and this is the story of how my daughter used me like an ATM, tossed me aside like garbage, and how I made sure her so-called perfect wedding never happened. For as long as I can remember, it was always just me and Kelly against the world. Her father, Aaron, walked out when she was only 2 years old. One Tuesday morning, he packed a bag, closed the door, and never looked back. No explanation, no child support, no phone calls. I was 24, holding a crying toddler, and realizing that if I wanted to keep a roof over our heads, I'd have to fight alone.
So I did.
I worked morning shifts at the diner, afternoons at the grocery store, and nights cleaning offices while my neighbor Judith watched Kelly for a few hours. There were nights I'd come home at 2 in the morning, my feet throbbing and my back screaming in pain, but I'd tiptoe into Kelly's room just to watch her sleep. Her little face looked so peaceful, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin, and in those moments, I'd whisper to myself, "It's all worth it. She's worth everything." I skipped meals so she could eat. I wore the same 3 outfits for years so she could have new clothes for school. We lived in a small trailer park, cramped, fading, but ours. I painted the walls, sewed curtains from old sheets, and called it home. When she got sick, I ignored my own health problems because Kelly's braces, Kelly's tutoring, Kelly's chance at a better life always came first. And somehow it worked. She graduated top of her class, earned a full scholarship to a great university, and landed a corporate job right after. I still remember crying at her graduation, watching my little girl cross that stage in her cap and gown. She'd gone from doing homework on a shaky kitchen table under a flickering light to having a corner office and a 6-figure salary. I was so proud, I thought my heart would burst. Then came Tyler. The moment Kelly introduced him, I could feel the distance grow. Tyler came from money. Old, polished money. His family owned a chain of luxury hotels, and when he stepped into our little trailer for the first time, his eyes flicked around like he'd walked into a museum exhibit. Still, he was polite enough, and Kelly glowed whenever he was around. 6 months later, they were engaged. Kelly called me crying tears of joy, and I hugged her so tight when she told me that I could hardly speak. She laughed. "Mom, you're crushing me." And I said, "I'm just so happy for you, sweetheart." We sat at the same kitchen table where she'd once done her homework, and she showed me the ring, large, sparkling, worth more than I'd ever earned in a year. Then she said something that made my heart sink. "Mom, this wedding is going to be huge. Tyler's family has expectations, and I want everything to be perfect." I smiled and said, "Of course, honey, whatever you need." But she looked at me, paused, then laughed in this strange, cold way I didn't recognize. "It's funny you say that like you have anything to contribute." I blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" She waved her hand like I was a child. "Nothing. Forget it." Then she added, "Actually, you can pay for the wedding." I just stared at her. "Kelly, I don't have that kind of money." Her smile hardened. "Consider it repayment. For all the years I had to grow up poor because of you." The words hit me like a punch. "Kelly, I did everything I could." She folded her arms.
Did you?
Because I remember wearing thrift store clothes while my friends wore designer. I remember living in a trailer park while everyone else had houses. "So, yeah, Mom, you owe me this." Then she left, leaving me sitting there in shock. But even after that, my heart couldn't let go. I just wanted my daughter back. I wanted her to love me again. So I said yes. I took out a $32,000 personal loan against my house, the same home I'd spent years saving for. That money was supposed to be my retirement, my medical fund, my safety net. Instead, I gave it all to her. At first, it felt like maybe I'd done the right thing. Kelly started calling again almost every day. "Mom, the venue's perfect, but we need an $8,000 deposit." I sent it. "Mom, the caterer needs $9,500 for 180 guests." I sent that too. Mom, the photographer costs $3,200, but you'll have front row seats right next to Tyler's parents. Every time she said that, my eyes filled with tears. I thought maybe she was finally appreciating me. For 2 months, I believed we were reconnecting. Then the calls stopped. The texts slowed. The I love yous disappeared. Weeks passed before I finally drove to her apartment, only to be stopped in the lobby. The doorman said politely, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but Miss Rivera left instructions that you're not allowed upstairs." My heart shattered. I went home and cried for hours. 2 days later, I called. She answered with annoyance in her voice. "What, Mom? I just wanted to talk. I miss you." "I'm busy," she said. "Tyler's family is helping finalize the details." Then she hung up. A week before the wedding, I called the wedding planner to confirm something. The woman sounded cheerful at first, until she realized who I was. "Oh, Mrs. Chin, I'm so sorry, but you're not on the guest list. Kelly said you have health issues and wouldn't be attending." My vision blurred. My own daughter had lied to exclude me from the wedding I paid for. When I confronted her, her words broke whatever motherly love I had left. "Look," she said coldly, "Tyler's family is very image conscious. You'd embarrass me. You dress like you shop at Goodwill, because you do. You don't know which fork to use. You'd ruin everything." Something in me snapped. I hung up without another word. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and pulled up every single contract, every invoice, every receipt. And that's when I realized something beautiful. Every agreement was signed in my name. Not Kelly's. Not Tyler's.
Meaning?
The venue. The catering. The florist. The DJ.
The cake.
The makeup artist. The dress alterations. The invitations. All of them billed to me. All of them controlled by me. That night, I smiled for the first time in weeks. The next morning, I made the first call. "Hello, this is Victoria Chen. I need to cancel the Rivera-Anderson wedding booking." The coordinator panicked. "Ma'am, that's in 10 days. We can only refund half." I said calmly, "I don't want a refund. Just cancel it." One by one, I went down the list. Caterer, photographer, florist, DJ, cake, hair, and makeup. Cancelled. Every last one. By the end of the week, the entire wedding was gone. The night before what should have been her perfect day, Kelly called me, screaming. "What did you do?" Her voice was shaking. I answered calmly, "I cancelled the wedding." "You can't do that. Check the contracts, Kelly. Everyone has my name." There was silence, then a soft, broken "Mom, please." I let her talk, but my heart felt nothing. "You said I was an embarrassment, remember? You said you didn't want me there. Now you don't have to worry." She begged, she cried, she promised to invite me. But I was done. For the first time in my life, I chose myself. When the day came, they tried to throw together a backyard ceremony with pizza, folding chairs, and a dress that didn't even fit. Tyler's mother cried the whole time. And me? I sat in my living room, sipping wine, watching the sun go down. Months later, she tried to apologize. Then she had a baby, a little girl she named after me. But I refused to be part of a life where I was only valued when needed. I'd given her everything, and she'd given me nothing but pain. Do I regret it? Not for a second. I regret raising someone who thought love was a transaction. I regret believing that unconditional meant without boundaries. But canceling that wedding? That was the best $5,000 I ever lost. So if you've ever been betrayed by someone you die for, remember this. Even a mother's love has a limit. Don't let anyone treat you like an ATM with a pulse. Love yourself enough to walk away. Hit that like and subscribe button if you believe that sometimes the best revenge is simply saying no.